What's going on, people? Hope everybody's having a great. What day is it? Today is Thursday. Is that right? Thursday, May 12th. Hope everybody's having a great day. I'm going to pin my comments here so everybody can hit me to get the daily motivation text. If you want to get the daily motivation, you can just hit me at that number right there. Hope everybody's having a great start to your day. Go ahead, you can tell me who you are in the comments section. We're going to get started in a minute. We're going to talk about increasing your value. That's the topic here today. And we're going to get started in 30 to 60 seconds. I'm not going to wait too long. Usually, my experience with IG Live is that people start coming in as soon as I actually get into the material. I would love for everybody to be here, then I start, but usually it doesn't work that way. So I'm going to give it like 30 seconds, then we're going to get into this. Like I said, hope everybody's having a great day. I just came back from my hometown. I was in Philadelphia for the first half of this week. Went to the Sixers game. They beat the Heat in game 4. Tied the series up 2-2. Then they lost game 5. They got their behinds kicked in game 5. And tonight in Philly is game 6. So I'm not in Philly anymore. I'm back in Miami. But we'll see what happens. They might win. They might lose. I'm open to whatever happens. What's going on, Bell? So anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete. I'm the author of 31 books. I'm the creator of this whole philosophy and brand and framework called Work on Your Game. It's all about helping professionals out there take the tools and attributes and skills you need to succeed in sports and applying them at work and everyday life, specifically strategy, accountability, execution, all of it starting with the foundation of mindset. What we're going to talk about here today is how to increase your value. How do you actually increase your worth in the eyes of the people with whom you're dealing with, the people you are serving, the people you're working with, or just increase your overall value in the marketplace. So if somebody comes across you and maybe they never heard of you before, like somebody might be watching this video or the replay of this video, never heard of me before, but they gave it a shot, maybe because the topic caught their eye and they're like, all right, let me see if this guy's actually useful to me. And it's all going to be based on some of the things that you can do that shows what value you bring to the table. So I got 3 points I'm going to go over here. When I'm done with the 3 points, if anybody has a question or comment, you can go ahead and post it, and I'll address those, and then we will wrap this up. And this is not going to be super long. We'll probably go we'll see how long it goes. It ain't going to be that long. But anyway, talking about increasing your value. First of all, the thing that all of you need to understand is that people do not pay based on price. People pay for things based on value. Even though we logically like to tell ourselves that we make our buying decisions based on how much something costs, because logically practical, you might say, well, look, if something costs $100 and I don't have $100, then I can't buy the thing that costs $100. But if I have 50 and something costs 50, then I might buy the thing that costs 50. That's the logical explanation that we give for our actions, but it's not actually the real reason why we make choices. We make choices based on the value of things, and even if we see something that we really believe is worth whatever the price is, or maybe even more than whatever the price is, and we don't have the money, you know what we do? We go find the money. We go get the money. You go take out a loan. You go borrow some money. You go put it on a credit card. You do whatever you got to do. If you see something that has the value that is more than what you have in your pocket, in your wallet, you will go find that money because you see the value in that thing. We do not make buying decisions based on money, based on price, based on a number that's on a price tag. No. We make all our decisions based on value. So when something is valuable enough, we will find the money to go get it. One example that I heard people say when I first got introduced to network marketing back when I was in college, people would always say, it's $500 to get into this business opportunity. And if you don't have $500, this is what they would say. If you got locked up today and you knew that you were innocent and it cost $500 to get out of jail, could you go find $500? And the answer, everybody's like, yeah, of course you go find $500. Or if your grandma got kidnapped and the ransom was $500, they didn't say this, but this is the example I'll use. Would you go find $500? Of course, everybody can go find $500, even if you claim to be broke, right? All of us can go find money when we find something that we see that is worth it. Value is simply what we see something as worth. That's all value means. What is something worth in your eyes? So if you want to sell something to other people, your goal is not that you have to convince them that they have the money or convince them of the price. You got to convince them that whatever you're offering and the price you're asking for has value that is even higher than the price. So that means they're getting a deal. So if I'm selling you something and I tell you it costs $20, but I show you that the value is $100 and you believe me, then you'll go find that $20. Why? Because for that $20, you're getting $100 worth of value. So basically you're getting an 80% markup on the money that you spent. Actually, it's a 400% markup on the money that you spent, because you spent 20 and you're actually getting $100 worth of value, or 500%. So this is what you have to understand about value. The value of things goes up when it's harder to get, and the value of things go down when it's easier to get. This is why circulation makes the value of things, for the most part, go down. This is why we get inflation. The more money government prints, the higher things cost. Right now, I was just in Philly, like I said, the gas was crazy. It was like $5 a gallon for gas. It's like that down here too, but honestly, I don't even drive that much when I'm in Miami. But up there, gas was crazy. Why? Because we got inflation, and the value of things, the price of things is going up because the value of the dollar is going down. That's pretty much how it works. So as a side note, any of you who may have been supporting or protesting, hey, we need to give more money to certain employees. I took an Uber from the airport, and they got all these extra fees that they add on now. So like a third of the cost is fees now, not just the cost of the ride. And they say, well, Uber drivers need to make more money. Whole Foods workers need to make more money. People who work at entry-level jobs, they need to make more money so they can make a living wage. Y'all heard about that? We got to give a living wage to everybody these days. Here's the problem with that argument. Here's a bunch of problems with it, but here's one of them economically, that if we need to give more money to the person who works at the register at McDonald's, you know what's going to happen? The price of the burger is going to go up. The price of the food is going to go up. The price in grocery stores is going to go up. The price of everything is going to go up. So even though that McDonald's worker is making more money, the cost for them to live, that living wage that they claim that they now get, their living wage is still not going to be high enough, because their rent is going to be higher. The gas is going to be higher. The taxes are going to be higher. Everything's going to go up. So if you're at the bottom level of anything, you're not going to be having a quote-unquote living wage no matter what. What you need to do, instead of complaining about you need to be given more, you need to step your game up so you're not at the bottom of the pyramid anymore. But that's a different conversation, actually, for a different day. Let me get into my points here today. Actually, this is kind of the same conversation. We're talking about how do you increase your value. A couple things you can do. Number one, you want to increase your value in the eyes of any person on the planet. The most important thing you need to do is give them what they want. This is the most important thing you can do. You want to be more valuable to any other person on the planet. I don't care if it's your child, if it's your parent, if it's your boss, if it's your coworker, if it's a regular person on the street who you don't even know. Give people what they want. When you give people what they want, your value goes up in their eyes. Why? Because you are satisfying their needs. Human beings we are all driven by self-interest. What's going on, Micah? How are you? I was on Micah's podcast a couple months back. Human beings are all driven by self-interest. All right, we all make our decisions based on what we want. We're all tuned into the radio station. I know most of y'all don't listen to the radio anymore, but it's WIIFM. What's in it for me? When you give people what they want, they will give you what you want. That's a paraphrase from the late great Zig Ziglar. And here's the thing, especially for those of you who are in any type of business where you're helping people get better and improve. The challenge in that industry, in any industry like that, whether you're doing it through information, through fitness, through training, teaching, anything like that, is that a lot of times people don't want to do the hard work that's required to improve. But at the same time, you need to give it to them so that they can step their game up and get to the next level. So here's how you do it. The metaphor that I give people all the time is, I call this feeding medicine to the dog. Any of you ever had a dog and you had to give medicine to the dog, you all understand you can't just hand a medicine pill to your dog, because your dog's going to sniff it and it's not going to smell like the kind of food that the dog wants, and they're going to not even take it. Or if you manage to trick them enough to get them to actually eat it, then they're going to taste it and they're going to spit it out. So what you got to do is you got to figure out how to give the dog what it wants, which is like a treat or a snack or some peanut butter, some deli meat, and then you mix the medicine in with it. And the dog is so excited that they're taking in the thing that they want, that at the same time they get the thing that they need. And in this sense, human beings are not that much different from dogs. So this is why you got to give people a little bit of what they want while at the same time mixing in what they need. And this is how you get people to see more value in you, because you're giving them the part that they're interested in while also giving them the part that they actually need. Because if you only gave people what they wanted, then you probably wouldn't get a lot done. Now, I don't have kids, but I would think that if you ask your kids, what do you want for dinner, they'd be eating ice cream and cake. right? They would never actually get the vegetables. They would never get the full course meal, the starch, the protein, and the carbohydrates. They wouldn't get all the things that they needed if you asked them what they wanted. Now, you got to figure out a way that you can give them what they think they want, while at the same time giving them what they need so they can get to the next level, because most people, and I'm not just talking about children, I'm talking adults as well, don't have the maturity level and the discipline to actually take in the things that they need. They're usually focused on the things that they want. So this is the game that all of us have to play, and you got to be a step ahead of the people that you want to serve in giving them what they want. You want to be valuable to another person. Your job is to, at times, you got to swallow your pride, and you got to give them the thing that they're interested in, while again at the same time give them the part they need. Because if they're not getting results in the long term, eventually going to turn around and look at you and say, hey, I'm not getting results from working with you. But you might be saying, well, I gave you what you wanted. What you wanted was to have fun and watch TV and enjoy yourself. I'll let you do that. You didn't get any results. What do you expect? But people, again, most human beings don't have the discipline to understand this. Your job as the expert is you have to understand it. So you have to be a step ahead of everybody else. Yes, exactly, Micah. You got to be a step ahead of everybody else and make sure that you're mixing in the needs with the want. And understand that human beings, none of us, I won't say none of us, most of us, we don't buy the things that we need. We buy the things that we want. Sometimes they're the same thing. But many times we buy what we want. We don't actually buy what we need. And when I say buy, I don't necessarily mean going to the store and going through the cash register. It can be as simple as cooperation. People cooperate with the things that they want, not necessarily with the things that they need. So this is number one. Give people what they want. Number two, increase your value with other people. You must be or do something for other people that they cannot get anywhere else. In other words, you need to make yourself irreplaceable, like the Beyonce song. You got to be irreplaceable. What can you bring to the table for or with other people that they cannot replicate or replace without you? If you went away, what would be missing from somebody's world that they cannot get anywhere else? This is a question that everyone, any of you who's an entrepreneur, any of you who's in the, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're doing. You could have a pizza shop in your neighborhood. You could write books. You can be a coach, a speaker. You can be a clothing. You can make t-shirts for people. Whatever it is you do for a living. If you disappeared, what would be missing from the world of your best clients and customers that they cannot replicate, that they just will never have again because you're not there? What would that be? What's going on, Manager Key? What would that be if you disappeared? If you cannot answer this question, then you are in a precarious position. Your business is in a precarious position, because that means you're replaceable. You're fungible. If you went away, somebody could just take your spot and nobody would even know that you were gone. How are you replaceable? We call this, in the marketing world, they call this the USP, stands for Unique Selling Proposition. What do you bring to the table that cannot be replicated, that nobody else can do? And it doesn't mean that you got to have a specific product or service that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. You can have a product or service that anybody could easily copy, but nobody would want it from them. They all want it from you. An example of this is Apple. Apple has this phone right here. Now, if Apple went away and they stopped making phones and I got to get a new phone, it would be a little bit of a challenge for me, because I got to decide who I want to buy my phone from. I'm pretty much decided that as long as Apple's making the phones, when I get done with this phone, I'm going to get a new phone from Apple. When I get done with the tablet, the computer, I'm just going to get a new one from Apple, even though Apple is not the only company that makes phones, tablets, or computers. So this is the example that I'm giving you here. You don't have to have a product that, again, nobody else can make, but you need to own space in the mind of your consumer to where they only want your thing from you. They only want it from you because they can't get it anywhere else. Where is that for you? So if you're in, think of any of you who's in a space where there's a whole bunch of other people, graphic designers, fitness trainers, motivational speakers. These things are, they're gyms. These are easily replaceable. There might be 1,000 of these in every city where every one of you live. But what makes you irreplaceable? What makes you the person that, damn, they have to get it from you because they don't want to get it from anywhere else, or they can't get it from anyone else because of something that you bring to the table? What makes you specifically unique to the people that you serve? How do you make yourself stand out from everyone else out there who might be similar to you? You got to make it clear in the minds of your consumer, not just clear in your own mind. Okay? Not just you know that you're different, because I ask any entrepreneur, what makes your stuff different? And they often, what happens, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially people who are early in the game, they'll go into this long 5-minute explanation of what makes them unique. And I'm like, first of all, it took you too long to explain that. If it takes you 5 minutes to explain why you're different, you're not different. That's first of all. Second of all, your consumers are not going to remember any of what you just said. What makes you different needs to be something you can say in one sentence that anyone can understand and it makes sense when they hear it. Now, I think it was Mark Twain who said, I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long letter. And this is the work that you have to do. Because if it was easy for you to come up with a simple, unique selling proposition, then everybody would do it. It's not easy to do. That's why this takes time. It takes work. It takes effort. You might need to get some outside help, but you need to figure out what can you say about yourself and your offerings that makes you different from anywhere else that is out there in that space. Mike said nothing is irreplaceable. That's not true, Mike. In the context of what we're talking about here, in marketing, there are things and people and businesses that are irreplaceable. That's why they own the market share that they own. Think about a company like Amazon or Uber or Apple. None of them is doing something that nobody else is doing, but they have a huge market share, and in the minds of their consumers, they are irreplaceable because their consumers won't buy from anybody else. That's the context of what we're talking about here. So yes, they are actually irreplaceable. Third thing, we are talking here how to increase your value in the minds of your consumers. And if anybody got a question, put it in the comments. I'll answer them all at the end. Third thing you got to do is enmesh yourself into the minds and worlds of your consumers. In other words, you must know your people better than they know themselves. You got to know your customer, know your client, know your market really, really well, so that you not only know what they're dealing with, but also you can anticipate what they're going to need moving forward. You can anticipate what's the next thing they're going to need. And Apple's a great example of this, and they're a good example to use because all of y'all have a bunch of Apple products. Most of us shop for all of our electronic needs, or at least for the products that they sell at Apple. Apple pretty much sells 3 products. They have a phone, a tablet, and a computer. And the phones dominate our lives, and they already know what's the next thing we're going to need. They anticipated the AirPod, right? They anticipated the tablet. They anticipated the next thing we need in the phone. Every year they put out a new phone. New phone's not that much different than an old phone, right? Not really. I mean, they put a new processor in there. The camera steps up. But for the most part, what's that much different from the iPhone? What phone are we on now? 13? iPhone 13 to iPhone 8. What's really the difference? Like, can you tell me off the top of your head without Googling it, what's so much different between the 8 and the 13? Not much. And that's like 7, 10 phones ago. It's pretty much the same thing. But the thing is, they've enmeshed themselves into the minds of their consumers to the point that you don't want to buy your products from anybody else. Even though you might be able to save money from somewhere else, it might actually be a better product from somewhere else. Doesn't matter. They have enmeshed themselves into your mind to where they dominate your world. You want to do the exact same thing with your stuff. So even if you get a bunch of competitors, they see that you're doing your thing, you're making money, you got customers, they're going to try to come into your world and try to take some of your market share. They can't do it because you're dominating the space. Apple's done that. Amazon's done it. Uber is a good example. They've done it. Airbnb, they've done it. A lot of companies have done this. You want to do it in your space, and you don't have to be a worldwide company like them. You could do it just in your niche. You could do it just in your neighborhood, in your city, wherever you do your thing. Just in your industry, you need to be this person to where nobody is looking at your competitors with a wandering eye. They might notice the competitors, but they're not really thinking twice about dealing with them. The better you know your customers, the better you can meet their needs, better you can sell them the things that they will need. You can anticipate, and basically you're in their minds. You want to know what they're doing before they even do it. How hard would it be for you to switch from like I said, an Apple to an Android, from Gmail to some other Google product? How hard would it be for you to stop using Instagram or Facebook or YouTube if they had a competitor that came along? These companies have dominated their space. You can do the exact same thing. This takes work, though. This takes work. It takes time. It takes forethought. You have to really think about how can you get into the mind of your consumer. And here's the best way to do it. Talk to your clients. Talk to your customers. Find out what is it about you that got them into your world and keeps them in your world. They will tell you, and then you have to reverse engineer and figure out how can you use that to your advantage to stay number one in their minds. You want to be number one in the mind of your consumer, not number one in just your personal opinion. You don't even have to be number one objectively, because a lot of this stuff is not objective. A lot of it is emotional and mental. You want to be number one in the minds of your consumers so that when it's time for them to buy something, they're not even looking at competitors. They're only thinking about you. That's how you increase your value in the minds of people. So 3 points. I'm going to recap these 3 points. Anybody got a question, put it in the comments now, and I'm going to address it. How to increase your value to other people, to your consumers. Number 1, Give people what they want while at the same time giving them what they need. But if they feel like you're not giving them what they want, they will not stay in your world. So make sure you're giving them what they want while at the same time you might have to quietly mix in giving them what they need. Like I said, feeding medicine to the dog. Number 2, be or do something for people that they cannot get anywhere else. Make yourself irreplaceable to where you cannot easily be replaced with someone else. If you disappear from the marketplace, what will be missing that nobody else can do and that your consumers, your clients and your customers can't go get from somebody else if you're not there to give it? What would disappear if it wasn't for you? And number 3, invest yourself into the minds and worlds of your consumers. In other words, you got to know your client better than they know themselves. This requires a heavy amount of market research, a good amount of forethought, and really thinking about, you got to get really insightful about who your client is, who your customer is, why they want what they want from you. What are you doing to satisfy them? What are they getting from you they can't get anywhere else? This should not be based on your opinion. It should be based on what you actually know to be true. The easiest way to know this is to talk to people. They will tell you what it is about you that keeps them in your world. If you don't know this, then you haven't done half the work that is necessary for you to be running a business. It is not about how great your product is or how smart you think you are or how much your stuff costs. It has nothing to do with price. It's all about value. Value is about what people want. And when you give people what they want, you are giving them value. And when you give people value, they will pay any price you set. Did everybody hear what I just said? When you give people the value that they want, it doesn't matter the price. They will pay it because you're giving them what they want, especially if they have no alternatives. And there are plenty of options out there, plenty of businesses out there who do exactly this. You have no other options. You will pay whatever the price is. You will find the money. Doesn't matter if you think you have it or you don't. All that said, so if you got a question, go ahead and put it in the comments section and I will address those comments right now. Let's see. Always Training said, oh, you got a quote from Styles. Yeah, that's exactly. If anybody can take your place, you don't really have a spot in the market. Belfer said, how would you answer the question, what do you do? It depends on who I'm talking to. It depends on the context. So it's, I help blank, do blank, and remove the pain. You got to be clear on who you're helping. Also clear on what you help them do, and also what is the pain that you help them get rid of. So for example, simplest example I give is with my book right here, the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. Y'all can see behind me. So when I'm selling this book, I say I help professional level unsigned basketball players sign a contract to play pro basketball so they can stop feeling like they are wasting their talent and wasting their opportunity. So I'm getting specific as to who I'm helping, pro basketball players, what I'm helping them do, sign a contract to play pro basketball, and removing the pain, which is they feel like they're wasting their talent and opportunity because they're not playing pro basketball. So those are the things that you have to help people do. I talked about that at Work on Your Game Live last week. Jeremiah said, what traits make you irreplaceable? Your audience tells you that. It's not based on your opinion or your idea. Your audience will tell you. So what you do is you talk to your best clients and your best customers and you ask them, what is it about what we do as a company or what I do as a person that brought you into me, and what keeps you into my world? Those are questions that, and there's a list of questions that I have actually that you have to ask your best clients. You have to ask your clients that, but it shouldn't be based on what you personally think, because we all think that we're amazing, right? But those are not the things that you think about yourself, and not the same things that your customers and clients are interested about you. It's usually just a few things, not everything about you. It's a few things, and it's often not the thing that you think it is. So you have to ask the right questions, and that's why I've said asking the right question is more important than having the right answer. Many people think they have all the answers, but they got the answers to the wrong questions. So even though they think they're right, they're answering questions that are not even relevant to their future success. And these things in detail, the questions y'all asking are good questions. I talked about these things and I taught on them in detail at my event last week. Was that just last week? It was just a week ago. I did Work on Your Game Live. I feel like it was a month ago. But Work on Your Game Live was just last week, Thursday and Friday. So those of you who were at the event, access the replay where I went over these things in detail for everyone. So question is, you tell the story about your hat on a plane. I haven't seen or heard it yet. No, I haven't told any story. I posted on my story. Mama saying you got the F word on your hat is inappropriate. Technically, she's not wrong. No, I'm not telling the story now. I'll write an article about it. It wasn't that big of a deal, but technically she's not wrong. I mean, it is the F word on the hat. And if that's the policy, I ain't mad as long as somebody's enforcing the policy. As long as they do that to everybody, then I ain't mad. Now, if you just single me out, then I have an issue. But if you do it to everybody, then I'm alright with that. As long as the rules apply to everyone, I'm good. Alright, can I take any more questions? Go ahead and post it in the comments section. If somebody got one, I'll wait like 30 seconds. While I wait for that, down in my pinned comment, my daily motivation text message comes out every single day, free of charge to everyone who's on my text community. That message is guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point every single day. You can get access to that by just texting me at this number right here, 305-384-6894. And as a matter of fact, when I get done with this live, I'm going to respond to my text because I didn't respond. I don't think I checked my text yesterday. I sent it out yesterday, but I didn't check the replies. So I'm about to go through all my replies and respond to my text in 1 minute as soon as I get off this live. So let's see. Jeremiah says, can you pay for the Work on Your Game live replay? As of right now, no. As of right now, that replay is not available for purchase, but it may become available in the future, so just stay tuned. What I would suggest you do, Jeremiah, is just make sure you're on my email list. If you are already getting emails from me, you're already on my list. If you're not on my list, go to workonmygame.com. Workonmygame.com. Just put your email address in on that page, and you'll be on my list. So then if I send out an email about it, how you can get access to the replay, then you'll know about it. And you can text me too. So that's another way that you'll be in the know. You'll be inside, in the room instead of out of the room. Bees Black Honey said, attend the next event. It was awesome. That's what's up. Shout out to everybody who was at the last event. All right, so I don't see any more questions. So we wrapping this one up, everybody. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I might do another live tomorrow. Stay tuned. Just follow my story. Y'all know when I go live. Have a great Thursday. Work on your game. We out of here.